cash book. The cash book is actually considered to be a ledger account, and at the same time is a book of original entry. And in the cash book, we only record transactions that involve cash, either cash in hand or cash at bank. If something is bought or sold on credit, it will never appear in the cash book on the date of sale or purchase, if it's on credit. That date when we sold it on credit, or the date when we bought that item on credit, it will not appear in the cash book because there is no cash movement there. There's no cash movement there. So we are only going to consider that in the cash book, the date the payments are going to be effected, when the person or the customer will pay, or when the business will pay the supplier. That is when we are going to record it in the cash book, but not here. Anything that is bought or sold on credit, on that date when it is bought or sold on credit, it will not appear on the cash book. If it is goods that were bought on credit, they will appear in the purchases journal. If it is goods that have been sold on credit, they will appear in the sales journal. But if it is maybe a fixed asset that has been bought or sold on credit, they will appear in a journal we call the general journal. Cash book is only meant for cash. Cash paid, cash received, nothing else. So the cash book, we have got 4 types of cash books. We have the 1 column or the single column cash book. We have got the 2 or the double column cash book, the 3 column cash book, and the petty cash book. 1 column cash book, 2 column cash book, 3 column cash book, and then we have got the petty cash book. We are not going to cover the 1 column cash book here. If you go back to your ledger accounts, the T accounts that we used to open, if you see the cash and bank account separately maintained, they are considered to be a 1 column cash book. So a 1 column cash book, it is a cash book whereby cash in hand transactions and cash at bank transactions are separately recorded in 2 different cash books or 2 different accounts. When we have a cash account that is separate from the bank account, that is a 1 column cash book. That is a 1 column cash book. So you can just refer to the questions that we did, whereby we had the cash account, the bank account. They are separately maintained. They become a single or a 1 column cash book. For a 2 column cash book, it is when now we combine the 2. The cash and the bank accounts, they are combined and then they are represented as 1. They become a 2 column cash book. Actually, a 2 column cash book will have the following format. So it has got 2 sides. We have the debit side, whereby we record any cash received. Then we have the credit side, which is the payment side, whereby we shall record any cash paid. So anything that we pay in cash, either cash in hand or cash at bank. Anytime we maybe pay by cash, maybe we have paid electricity by cash, we are going to record the amount here. Anytime we pay by check, we record the amount in the bank column, because when you issue a check, it will reduce your bank balance. Anytime we receive cash, we record it in this column. Anytime we receive a check, we record in this column because we are having the receipt side. So that is a two-column cash book. So the cash and the bank, they are now combined and then they are represented in one account, which we call a two-column cash book, the two-column cash book. So cash receipt, cash payment, bank receipt, bank payment, like that. So that is how simple we prepare it. I have shared a document on your WhatsApp group with the questions. And those are the questions that I want us to discuss. Open yours. So we start with question 1. Lion, you are saying that I share the link. I'm actually not supposed to share the link on WhatsApp. The only person who can share the link is either the HOD or the dean. I can't share the link on the WhatsApp because of the reasons they know better.
It's my first class.
Yes, but you have joined.
Yes. But I don't have the link to the WhatsApp group.
You are not in the. Oh, you want the link for the WhatsApp group?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it is the link for the class. I will. Okay. I will share that link shortly before the class ends. So I want you to look at question 1. Question 1. It talks about on October 1, the mixed traders had 51,000 in cash and a bank overdraft of 10,000. Then the following transactions took place during the month. So it is a business of the mix. Okay. Let me do the first thing first. Actually, I had not seen that. Let me share the link first. So that I can share the question. I've shared the link. You can join, then I send the questions. Those who are not on the WhatsApp group. The link is on the chat. One person has joined. Any other who has not joined so that I can resend the questions? So I've resent the question. You can now have them. So question one. Question one. On 1st October 2021, the mixed traders had 51,000 in cash and a bank overdraft of 10,000. The following transactions took place during the month. So you need first of all to record the opening balances. The opening balances. So the 51,000 that is in cash and the bank overdraft of 10,000. You need to remember that a bank overdraft occurs when the payments exceeded the receipts. So you have a negative bank balance. So in that case, the overdraft will appear here. The bank column, but on the credit side, it is when you have got a negative balance. So it is going to come here. But for the cash, it is going to be a balance on this column because it is a positive balance. Cash will always have a positive balance. It will never have will never have a cash overdraft. Bank overdraft is possible, but for cash will always have a debit balance. Remember, assets are normally debited. So the debit side will always exceed the credit for cash. But for the bank, because you can be able to negotiate with the bank and withdraw more than what you have, you can have an overdraft. So that transaction on 1st October will be recorded as follows. So you can write here October 1. Here it is the balance brought down, the open balance. For cash, it is 51,000, debit side. For the bank, you write the same on the other side, October 1. Balance brought down of 10,000. It is an overdraft, it will appear there. But if it was not an overdraft, it would have appeared here. If it was a positive bank balance, it would have appeared here. But in the moment you are told it's an overdraft or a credit balance, it will appear on that side. Then, during the month of October, we have the transactions that took place. And it is going to be very easy and very fast. So we need to consider whether it is a cash receipt or a bank receipt or a cash payment or a bank payment. If it is a cash receipt, put here. Bank receipt, put here. Cash payment here, bank payment here. So Cashbook is only about money in and money out. If it is money in on this side, money out on this side. 2nd of October, sold goods 38,600 in cash. When you sell in cash, obviously you will receive money. You are selling, so you sell the goods, you receive cash. So it is a receipt. So you will come here and do October 2nd, there is sales that were made of how much? 38,600 in cash. So we received 38,600 there in cash column. On the 9th, sold goods for 25,000 and received a check. When you receive a check, that money goes to the bank. So it is a receipt in the bank. So on the 9th, it is another sales. This time round, 25,000 is received in the bank. In the bank. 12, paid electricity. So that is a payment. So you write here 12, what you paid is electricity. Of how much? 1,500 cash. So it is a cash payment. Put in the cash column like that. On 14th, received a check of 145,000 from Amos. So it is a receipt, money in. On 14th, from who? Amos. How much? 145,000. So it is in check, yes. 145,000. It is a check of 145,000. So you put it in the bank column. Any check received. Purchased goods for 12,000 in cash. When you buy, you pay. So it is a payment. So this is a 15. That is when you buy goods. Anytime goods are bought, we consider them as purchases. 12,000 in cash. So the 12,000 will appear in the cash column. On the 27th, settled ABX Limited account of 270,000 by check. So that is a payment. We paid ABX. So you write here on the 27th, we paid ABX Limited. How much? 270,000 by check. So it is a bank payment. Lastly, on that one, deposited all the cash into the bank account except 900. We deposited all the amount that we have in the cash as at that date, but we left behind 900. So how much did we deposit? That transaction, first of all, is known as a contra entry. When money is moving from cash to bank or from bank to cash, it is considered to be a contra entry. A contra entry is a transaction that affects the cash and the bank at the same time. And it's actually a transaction whereby money is not moving into the business or out of the business. It is just changing hands from bank account to cash account or from cash account to bank account, but within the business. So in this case now, when you are told we deposit except a certain amount, you need to determine the cash balance as at that date. How much cash did we have? How much cash did we have on that date, so that we can be able to know how much you deposited, so that we can be left with 900. So to do so, you add the cash that you received, the total cash received. You add the cash column on this side, get the total cash that was received in that period. Let me have my calculator. The total cash received will be 51,000 plus 38,600. We received, the receipt is 89,600. Then you consider, remember what we received, we don't have the whole amount. Part of this amount was used to pay this. We paid 1,512,000. So the payments is, this is 13,500. So if we received 89,600 and we paid 13,500, so the balance at that date is 89,600 minus 13,500. So we are going to have what? The balance at that date is 76,100. That is the cash balance that we have. As we speak that date, we had a balance of 76,100. Now the statement is very clear. We deposited all the cash except 900. So how much did we deposit? From this amount, we are going to be left with 900. So we minus 900. The amount that we are going to deposit is 75,200. This is what we are going to deposit. 75,200. 75,200. So 75,200 will be transferred from cash to bank. From cash to bank. It is a contra entry. Contra entry. So what do? We are depositing this money into the bank. So the bank will be receiving, 75,200 from cash. 75,200 deposited in the bank. Details, you normally write where the money is coming from. The money is coming from cash. Then you go, this is actually on the what? 31st. On the same date, 31st, this is now payment side. The account that is paying or the account that is reducing is cash. Cash is reducing by 75,200. Where the money is going, it is to the bank, bracket C, contra entry. Contra entry. So here in the details on the payment side, we normally record where the money is going or what we are paying. And here we normally record where the money is coming from. What is the source of the money? and here where the money is going. So for this case of a contra entry, the account that is receiving, you put that amount on the receipt side in that column. The bank is the one that is receiving. So on the receipt side, you receive the money in the bank. And here you write where the money is coming from. The account that is reducing or paying out is cash. So on the payment side, record the figure on the account that is paying out, in this case, cash. And here you record where the money is going. So you cannot record the money in the cash column and then you write here cash. No. If the amount is in the cash column here, you write bank. If the amount is in the bank here, you write cash. And once you have done that, what remains is for you to do a very simple balancing. Very simple balancing. You ask yourself,
before you move, I wanted you to clear for me, where have you gotten the payment of 13,500?
13,500. I've added these two. That is what we have paid in cash. We paid for electricity 1,500. We paid the purchases of 12,000. The two combined is 13,500. Correct?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yes. So that is it. Then now we balance our account. So you add the total cash receipt here we found to be, the receipt was 89,600 for cash. And then remember here, if you add this, we are going to have a difference of 900. This 900 that we were left with the balance. So if you add this 13,500 plus 75,200, you will get 88,700. If you minus from this, you realize that on that 1st of October, our balance carried down for cash is actually, we have a balance of 900 that we were left with. When we deposited all the cash, we left 900, and that is the cash balance we have. So that here we can have 89,600, so that we can have the same total. So the balance carried down is the figure that we are going to put here so that the totals can be the same. For the bank, this side seems to be more. So if you add this, it is going to be 280,000. What about this side? 25,000 plus 145,000 plus 75,200. We have 245,000, and here we have got 280. So if you minus from 280,000, you get it is 34,200. So this side is going to have, try to put it a bit down. We are going to have the balance carried down of 34,800, still an overdraft, so that here we can have what? 280,000. And here it was 89,600. That comes to the end of the question. So the balance carried down is the figure that you insert so that the totals can be equal. That is a two-column cash book. Haina maneno mingi. Just money in and money out. Yes, Joseph.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Would you please explain why the balance of 900 we are crediting? Where are we recording it on the credit side?
The balance of 900. You know, this balance carried down. It is normally inserted on the side that has less. If we add this, we had the cash, we had 89,600, and here we had 88 something. 88 something. If you add this 3 up to here, they were coming to what? Let me add 13,500 plus 200. you get 88,700. Mpaka hapa tulikuwa na 88,700, hapa tuko na 89,600. So we are trying to make the figures to be the same. So what figure are we going to add on either side so that the totals can be the same? So you realize that this 900 must be here so that if we add this, it comes to this total. Actually, the 900 is the balance, but that balance we have it. So the debit side, which is the receipt, exceeds the credit side, which is the payment, by 900. So this 900, we are putting it here on the credit, but in the real sense, we call it a debit balance. It is the debit that exceeded the credit. So that balance is a debit balance, but we normally put it on the side that has less so that the accounts can balance at 89,600 and 89,600. It is the figure that was missing here. Are we together? Joseph?
Yes, thank you.
Yes. Even this 34,800 is a balance carried down. We are putting here for balancing purpose. If we add this, it is coming to 280,000, but here we were getting 240 something. Yeah? So this side had less, and because it has less, it was less by how much? We put the figure there so that the totals in the bank can be the same also. Higher. That is said and done. I want us now to go to the 3-column cash book. The 3-column cash book. It is actually very similar to the 2-column cash book, except that we are going to incorporate what we call the cash discounts. We are going to incorporate the cash discounts. The cash discounts here, it is either the discount allowed or discount received. When you pay somebody, that person might give you a discount. When you are paying and you get a discount, that discount is going to be considered to be a discount received. You receive a discount when you are paying. On the same note, a customer might pay you and you give that customer a discount. So the discount that you give to your customers when you receive money from them is considered to be a discount allowed. The reason why I'm saying so is for you to note this, that the discount received, you receive when you pay. So this one is going to be on the payment side, or in short, it is going to appear on the CR. You receive when you pay. You receive a discount when you pay. You cannot receive a discount when you are receiving money, no. And then the discount allowed, you are going to allow the person who is giving you money. So when you receive money from your customers, that is when you allow, or those are the people you allow discounts. Some of them, not all of them. So the discount allowed, it is going to appear on the receipt side, or in simple terms, it's going to appear on the DR. So by adding an additional column for the discount on either side, so we are going to have the 3 columns for recording the amounts on each side. On the debit side, we are going to have cash, bank, and discount allowed. That is on the receipt side. Then on the payment side, we are going to have cash, bank, and discount received. So we are going to have the 3 columns for recording the amounts on either side, and that's why the cash book is known as a 3-column cash book. So it is going to have the following format. We are going to have the date, the details, the discount allowed. Then we are going to have the cash and the bank. This is on the receipts or the debit side. On the other side, which is the payment side, we are going to have the same date, details, discount, received, cash, and bank. So it's going to be something like that. This is the payment or the CR. Three-column cash book. The three-column cash book. Three-column cash book. That is it. So I want you to note that because many students normally confuse. This is discount received. They come and record it on the receipt side. No. Discount received, you receive the discount when you pay. So it is going to appear on the payment side. The discount allowed, you allow those people from whom you are receiving money, the discount. You allow discount to those people from whom you are receiving the money. So it is going to appear on the receipt side. Don't confuse the two. So I want us to use question number 2 to illustrate this. On 1st February 2021, Jaka Limited had 191,000 in cash and 137,000 at bank. So you can be able to see here in this question, for the bank balance, they have not told us that it was an overdraft. When they don't tell us that it is an overdraft, then we just know that it is a positive or a debit balance. Debit balance, so we put it here. So actually those balances will appear like this. This is February 1. Write them as balance brought down. Brought down means opening at the start of the month or the period. Balance brought down, B stroke D at the start. But when we close at the end there, we normally write it as CD, carried down. Carried down means at the end of the year or at the end of the period. But BD when we are starting. So when we are starting the month of February, we had a cash balance of 191,000. We put it there on the cash column. And the bank, it is 137,000. You put them like that. Then you are told the following transactions took place during the month of February 2021. February 3rd, received a check of 120,000 from Timothy. We received, so it is a receipt. So you record here on that. From who? Timothy. From Timothy, it was a check. So it goes to the bank. 120,000. That. On 4th, paid wages in cash, 45,000, and by check, 80,000. So it is a payment. This is February 3. So what did we pay? We paid February 4th, sorry. We paid wages. Cash, how much? 45,000. By check, how much? 80,000. What was paid in cash, put it in the cash column. What was paid by check, put it in the bank column. On 8th, received cash of 15,360 from James after deducting 4% cash discount. So that is now the part whereby we need to be a bit careful when a discount is involved. So we received cash from James, 15,360. After deducting 4% cash discount. The question I want to ask the class is this. We received 15,360 and James had already deducted 4%. Are we going to deduct again? How are we going to get the discount? Remember, James has already deducted 4% and we have received 15,360. So we cannot again calculate 4% of 15,360 because discount has already been deducted by James. James deducted from his end, and then he channeled 15,360. So already the discount has been deducted. Now the question that we have at hand here is this: how much did James deduct as discount, so that we can record here as a discount allowed? So
640.
sorry, 640. That is correct.
Yes.
That is correct. But now I know majority will be wondering, how did that, or how did we get that 640? So the question we ask ourselves is this: if 4% has been deducted, remember, if we were to receive the entire amount, we were to receive 100%. If we were to receive the entire amount that James owed the business, we were to receive 100%. If 4% has already been deducted, then this 15,360 represents 96%. So you can come here and say 96% will be 15,360. What about the 4% that has been deducted? So the 4%, you can do a cross multiplication there. 4 times 15,360 divided by 96. Get 640. So when it comes to discount, you must be very careful on how the statement is framed, how the statement is given. When they say after deducting, then it simply means that it has already been deducted. So your work is to determine the amount deducted. So this is how we are going to record this. This is on aid. We received the money from James. The discount allowed is that 640. And then we received 15,360 in cash. So you write here 15,360. You don't deduct again. This is the amount that was received. So that is what we record as cash received. As cash received. And then this 640 is going to be the discount allowed to James. Okay, let us continue. Then you'll get it maybe when we do another one. On the 9th, paid fuel. So it is a payment. What we paid here is fuel. How much? 4,000 in cash. 4,000 in cash. The other one, 12 cash sales. When you sell, you receive cash. So on 12, you write here sales, and they were in cash, 30,000. 30,000 in cash. On 13, settled Dorcas account of. I want you to be very careful of that statement. When they say settled the account of a particular person, or settled the account of a particular person, and then you are given, like this, you are told settled Dorcas account of 40,000, even without going far. Then it simply means that this person by the name Dorcas, we were owing the person 40,000. 40,000 is what we owed the person. And then now you are told we paid the person by check less 4% cash discount. In this case, the 4% has not been deducted. What we owed Dorcas is 40,000. When they say the account of, that is the total debt that we owed the person. So you need to come here and get 4% of 40,000 because we have not deducted the discount. So this is what we owed, but we are supposed to deduct 4%. So how are we going to get that, or what is the answer? 4%, this is the same as 0.04 times 40,000. You will get it is going to be 1,600. So
1,600.
right. So we settled Dorcas account for 40,000 less 4%. So the total amount we owed Dorcas, 40,000, but we are supposed to deduct 4%. So you get 4% of it. It is different from this. That statement on aid said received cash of 15,360. 15,360 is what we received. And then James had already deducted 4%. So we were trying to find out the 4% that was deducted was equivalent to how much. But in this case, what we owe Dorcas is 40,000. We are supposed to have or to enjoy a discount of 4%. So we get direct 4% of 40,000. So we are going to get that. So At the end of the day, what we are going to pay is 40,000. We minus 1,600. So we are going to pay 38,400. This is what we are going to pay. And this is going to be the discount received. So this is how it is going to be recorded. On that team, what we paid, or the person we paid, is Dolca. The discount received is 1,600. We paid by what? By check. So we are going to pay 38,400. So your question, or you need to be asking a question, has discount been deducted or not? This one discount had already been deducted. This one discount had not been deducted. So you had to deduct it yourself. So that is settled. On 15, took 97,000 from cash till for personal. When you hear the word personal use, that is automatically drawings. The person or the owner took money from the business for personal expenses. So here it is 13. We normally consider it as a 15, sorry. We normally consider it as a payment because it is money out. Payments is money out. So drawings, you are taking out the money meant for the business. In this case, it was cash, 97,000 for personal use. That is not a contra entry because it was never deposited in the bank, or it was not withdrawn from the bank to cash. It is just a drawing. 16, Maureen settled her account of 8,000 in cash. So that is a receipt month from Maureen. This is 16th from Maureen. How much did we receive from Maureen? 8,000 in cash. Like that. There is no discount that is involved there. On the 19th, cash is directly deposited into the bank account, 11,000. So that is on 19th. We record here as sales. Now here the statement is very clear. The goods were sold in cash, but that amount was directly taken to the bank. Kwa hivyo hii kwenda kwa cash box. That money was taken directly to the bank. So it is going to go to the bank direct also here. Don't put it in the cash. Yes, it was cashless, but directly taken to the bank. On the 24th, we withdrew 15,000 from the bank for office use. That is now a contra entry. That is now a contra entry. We withdrew 15,000 from the bank for office use. When it is for office use, that money is withdrawn from the bank and taken to the cash box. So it is from the bank to cash box, from bank to cash box. So cash is receiving money, and in this case, it is receiving 15,000 coming from the bank. Contra entry, that is on the 24th. The same 24th, bank is reducing because we are withdrawing money. So there is a decrease in bank by 15,000, and that money is going to cash. Like that. Contra entry. The account that is paying, you put the figure on the payment side. The account that is receiving, you put the figure on the debit side. On the 25th, settled Akinyi's account 60,000 by check, less 1,800 cash discount. Hapo sasa lazima tukue wajanja pia. 25th, we settled Akinyi's account, and I've told you when they mention somebody's like Brian's account of 60,000, that simply means that we owe Brian 60,000. When they say settled Joseph's account of 60,000, it simply means that we owe Joseph 60,000. When they say settled Nancy's account of, when they mention that statement, account of this amount, that is the total amount we owe the person. And then when they tell you now the rest, the discount, then how much are you going to pay? If the total amount that we were supposed to pay is 60,000, and the person has given a discount of 1,800, so we are not going to pay 60,000. We are going to pay 60,000 minus 1,800. We must deduct deduct the discount. So here we are going to pay 60,000, we minus 1,800, then we are going to pay 58,200. This is the amount that we are going to pay. This is the discount that we are going to receive. That is it. So on the 25th, we are paying Akinyi. The discount that we have received from Akinyi is 1,800. We are paying by check, so we are going to write a check of 58,200. 58,200, that is what we shall pay. That is done. Lastly, on 28th, deposited all the cash into the bank except 9,000. We had done that. We are going to do again. When you are told okay. Joy-Ann, you also send the questions to the group again. So we are depositing all the cash except 9,000. The procedure is, how much cash balance do we have before we transfer to the bank and remain with 9,000? So I told you, you add all the cash that was received. On our cash column on the receipt side, how much did we receive? So you add the total cash that we received in that month. 191,000 was the opening, plus 15,360, plus 30,000, plus 8,000, plus 15,000. We received a total of 259,360. Then you go to the payment. How much cash did we pay that month? We paid 45,000 plus 4,000 plus 97,000. We paid a total of 146,000. Simple calculation tells me that if this is the cash that we received and this is the cash that we paid, then at that date, our cash balance will be what? 259,360 that we paid minus 146,000 that we have spent. So it is going to give us a cash balance of how much? 259,360 minus answer. We are going to have a balance of 113,360 cash balance. Many of the students, they do a mistake. They just add this. They get this is the total cash that we received. They forget that part of this was used to pay some things here. And then now they only consider this. So we have got 259,360. So we are going to leave behind 9,000. And then the difference is what we are going to deposit. No. You get the total cash received, you minus the total cash paid, so that you can be able to get the cash balance as at that date before depositing that figure into the bank. So as at that date, our cash balance will be 113,360. Now the question is very clear. We did not deposit 113,360. We left behind 9,000. So of this balance, we deduct 9,000. We deduct that 113,360 minus 9,000 that we are going to leave behind, so that we can be able to know how much we are going to deposit. So we minus here 9,000. We are going to deposit 104,360. That is what we are going to deposit, and it is going to appear as a contra entry because it is money from cash to bank, cash to bank. And this is how you are going to do it. The bank will be the one that is receiving because we are depositing into the bank. So on the receipt side, bank column will be receiving 104,360 from cash. 28th of February. We are going to be receiving this in the bank. The same date, 28th of February, the cash will be giving out. So it is a payment from cash of 104,360 going to the bank. Like that. And you are through with recording your transactions. What remains is for you to balance your cash book. Note here, for the discounts, we don't balance them. We don't balance the discounts. We simply take their totals. We simply take their totals. Like here, we have got the total discount allowed was 640. The total discount received was 3,400. Just take the totals like that. They don't need to be the same. We don't balance them. But for the cash and bank, we must balance it. Must balance. So for the cash, actually the balance that we have is 9,000. We left 9,000 behind. That is the cash balance that we have. It is actually more on the debit, so the credit will be having less 9,000. But you can do it manually. If you add the total cash receipt, we found it is 259, it is 60. If you add the total payments up to here without this 9,000, you realize that there will be a deficit of 9,000. And actually that 9,000 is what we have left in the business. So if you add there, the payment side, we have actually we had 146,000. Then we add this that we have included there, 146,000 plus 104, 360. You get 250, 360. If you minus from 259, 360, you get 9,000. That is the balance that we left at the cash box. For the bank, so here we are going to have 259, 360. Here we are going to have 259. For the bank, this side seems to be having more. So that has added 137,000 plus 120,000 plus 11,000 plus 104,360. The total bank receipt, it is 372,360. If you add the payment side of the bank, is 80,000 plus that 8,400 plus 15,000 plus 58,200. The total payment is 191,600. And the total receipt is 372,360. The difference between this total minus that total will give us the balance carried down there. So 372,360 minus the answer that I have is going to be 187,60. The balance carried down. And you are done, so that the total will be 372,360. That is the end of your cash book. So having said so, I don't know whether you can have an issue. We can do question number 3 again together, because I know 3-column cash book is highly tested, so that you can have the facts right. 3-column cash book. So question 3 says that on 1st April 2018, Viewmax Limited had a cash balance of 100,000 and a bank overdraft of 25,000. So I told you an overdraft, this is a credit balance. So, 1st of April. So we have April 1. April 1. For the cash, it is going to appear as a balance brought down. Opening is always brought down. Cash, 100,000. But for the bank is an overdraft. If it is an overdraft, you write it on the other side as April 1, balance brought down. In the bank column is a negative 25,000. So it is going to be there. Note that. Overdraft, you put it on the other side. April 2nd, sold goods to 70,000 in cash. So that is sales. When you sell, you receive money. In this case, to 70,000 in the cash. Put it in the cash column. 4th, April 4th, paid 4,000 for electricity. And it was paid by cash. So you write 4,000 as a cash payment there. On 5th, took 200,000 from cash and deposited into the business bank account. That is a contra entry. Money from cash to bank. So bank will be receiving 200,000 and that money is from cash. That is on 6th. The same 6th, cash is giving out 200,000 going to the bank. Those are the contra entry like that. Bank is receiving, money is from cash. Cash is paying out, money is going to bank. That is what it means. The settled Amina's account off. Ndio niliwaambia ukisikia account off inamaanisha we owe Amina 42,500. We know we owe Amina 42,500. So we need to calculate 2% of 42,500. That it is 850. It is 850. So 850. So we are going to pay how much? We are going to pay 42,500 minus 850. We are going to pay 41,650. So we settled. So it is a payment. On 8th, we are paying Amina. The discount received is 850. And then we have paid what? By what? By check. Yes, 41,650. What we are going to pay. That is the amount that we are going to write on the check. Received a check of 5,000 for dividends. That is a receipt. Money is coming from dividends. A check of 5,000. So it is going to go to the bank. 18 received 54,000 in cash from Mary after allowing a cash discount of what? 10,000. When they say this, when they say after allowing 10%, it simply means that what we received is 54 and Mary has deducted 10%. So Mary already has deducted 10% and she paid 54,000. So how much discount did she deduct? Already she has deducted. We cannot calculate 10% of 54. Already she has deducted 10%. So what do? What she paid is 90%. Remember I told you, if we were to pay or we were to receive 100%, we were to receive the entire amount. So if already she has deducted 10%, then she gave us 90%. So 90% that she gave us is 54,000. She has already deducted 10%, which is equivalent to how much? So you cross multiply 10 times 54,000 divided by 90. She has deducted 6,000. But remember, the amount that we received is what? 54,000. So we received 54,000, that is on 18th, from Mary. We received by what? In cash. So it is going to be in cash. What we received is 54,000. The discount that we allowed Mary is 6,000. Like that. That is how it is going to appear. So what we received, you put it there, the whole amount. There, discount that you have deducted, that had already been deducted, you put it here. On the 28th, received a check of 70,000 from Babu. So on 28th, money is coming in from Babu. How much? 70,000 check. Check of 70,000. Paid 41,000 by check to Lima after deducting a cash discount of 837. We paid 41 after deducting 837. That one does not have any complication. What we have paid is 41. What we have deducted is 837. So 837 is the discount received. 41,000 is what we have paid. So you put it the way it is on 29. We paid Lima. The discount allowed is 837. And then we are told we paid 41 after deducting this. So 41,000 is what we paid. So we pay as we have been told. That yes, we paid rent. This rent is 25,000 in cash. So it is a cash payment. Received 16,000 from Juma in cash. That is on that year again. From Juma, cash of 16,000 received. Then you balance your account. Don't forget, for the discounts, we don't balance them. Don't bother balancing the discounts. Discount allowed and the discount received are separate or different accounts. So just write here 6,000, right here, 8, that is 850 plus 837. You get 1687. Then for the cash, you need to balance them. You add total cash received, 100,000 plus 270,000 plus 54,000 plus 16,000. We have a total of 440,000 received. What about the total cash paid? 4,000 plus 200 plus 25,000. So we paid 229 and we had received 440. So the difference, 440,000 that we received minus the 229,000 that we paid will give us the cash balance. So as of that year, the balance carried down because it is at the end of the month. This one was brought down because it's at the beginning of the month. So here it is 211,000. Put 211,000, the total will be 440,000 there. It will be the same as this one. For the bank, we had 200,000 received plus 5,000 plus 70,000. We have received a total of 275,000. The payment side, 25,000 plus 41,650 plus 41,000. We received 107,650. So we paid 107. The 107,650 is what we paid, but we had received 275,000. So the difference of what we received minus what you have paid, the closing balance. So 275,000 minus my answer there is 167,350. Like that. That is your 3-column cash book. That is your 3-column cash book. The cash book is simply money in and money out. Nothing more. Money in and money out. So we shall pick from there on Sunday evening. We shall pick from there on Sunday evening. So for those who have just joined, our next class will be on Sunday evening, not Saturday. Not Saturday. Not Saturday at 10.